Hollywood in that early period was, I don't know just how to describe it. You see, they had no lights in those days. Everything that they did, they photographed outdoors. We had what we called diffusers. They were big canvas cloths that were pulled over the stages. They were over the stage and they were on wires, and ropes were pulled when you wanted full sunlight to pull the canvases back on these wires. Otherwise, they wanted diffusing, they pulled them over. There was no such thing as working inside with artificial lighting. And the studios were very different in those days. They were mostly, they had big fences around them, and then a number of these open air stages. And of course, it was quite difficult in those days. They had what they called the bullpen, and unless you were one of the stock players or one of the leading players, most of them had to go and sit in what we called these bullpens, and the assistant directors would come around and he'd point at you and say, "You there." He never knew your name or anything, and they'd have. Well, I would never do that. I had a certain pride, having played some very good parts on the stage, and I felt that I was an actor and that I didn't belong to this atmospheric group that had no experience at all, so I never would go there. My reaction was to go directly to the assistant director, but you couldn't get into the enclosure to contact them. So one device that I remember that I used, this was at Universal. I noticed that anyone that had makeup on that came out and went back in was never challenged. They went right through. They saw makeup on them, so they thought. So I thought, well, there's the cue. So the next day I came with my little box of makeup, went around the corner and put makeup on, stuck it under my hand, my cap under my thing, and just walked right on through. Well, that was my method until I got acquainted with the old gateman. Then I didn't have to do that. Pretty soon I got my work directly from the from the different assistant directors, and naturally found out I had experience, so then I finally become one of the regulars.
How do you regard yourself, as a comedian or a comic actor?
Well, I don't know the differentiation there. A comedian or a comic actor?
The comic actor deals with situations.
Yes. Well, here, let me put it this way. I think that the pictures we made, especially, the last 15 years, a lot of people refer to them as slapstick pictures. Well, I think that's an erroneous naming, because while there is slapstick in them, maybe quite a bit, they're also made up of broad comedy. I'm talking about my own now. Light comedy, farce comedy, dramatic comedy. In fact, they run a complete gamut of different types, and we were fortunate enough to find a blend where we incorporated all those things. And if you will take any one of them that were made, say, in the last 15 years, you'll find that you'll find a lot of elements of slapstick in it. Still, you'll be amazed how sometimes little slapstick, if you want to really give slapstick its real terminology, you'll find that there's very little slapstick in it. You'll find that they'll run to broad comedy and light comedy. Not as much farce. A few of them, I wasn't as strong for farce, but you'll find some of them has got a farce trend to them. And then every once in a while, like Grandma's Boy, like The Freshman, like different ones like that, you'll find that they've got a lot of more or less drama or pathos to them. Chaplin, for instance, that was one of his great forts. He loved to put a great deal of pathos in his pictures, being the little downtrodden tramp. But it's an amazing thing. They used to run Chaplin's picture and mine together, a great deal. And it wasn't until you put the two pictures together that you realized how different our characters were. They were, when you'd see one run and then the other one, a lot of people used to try to compare us, but really the comparison was sort of odious for the simple reason that we were two entirely different styles. We were both comedians or comic actors. I don't know which way. I'd leave it up to your. I think we could drop under both terminologies.
Mm-hmm.
Just the same as the ingredients that we have in our pictures would drop into that same category.
Well, Mr. Lloyd, you were one of the greats of Hollywood at the height of the silent picture era, and what was it like then? We hear legends of the great stars living in a grand manner with fabulous wealth and this kind of thing. Is it true? Or?
Well, yes. You see here, I say yes, more or less reservedly. When I first started in pictures, the motion picture star had a different type of glamour to him. In the early days, it was amazing. A lot of people didn't know whether you were real. They didn't know how pictures were made. You were a sort of an illusion almost. When people saw you, they almost stared because you were. And of course, remember that evolved itself into being really the great pastime for the masses. Now we have so many other things that had split the concentration, as it were. But at that time, a star in the motion pictures was a sort of a little different from what they regard today. Generally, they were a one-star system. You go back and you take Mary Pickford, Doug Fairbanks Sr., you could take Theda Bara, take William S. Hart, and you could go on. All of them were just one personality. And it was built around that one personality. Now you take a picture and you're liable to see anywhere from 2 to 5 or 6 big personalities all in the same picture. Well, you didn't have that. So consequently, the star became very prominent, a very dominant figure in pictures of that time. And a number of them, like Pickford, like Chaplin and Fairbanks and myself, we more or less produced our own pictures after we got to a certain point. Well, if we were producing successful pictures, they brought back very successful returns, and they did belong to us. And we liked we say Hollywood. Very few of them actually lived in Hollywood. That became the name of the area, but it really wasn't. Beverly Hills probably had more of them. You take Pickford and Chaplin and myself and Rudolph Valentino, another one as they went. All of us lived right out here in one thing. Mary lived just across the road, Mary and Douglas. Chaplin lived just below them. Valentino lived up just above me here, and so it went with the whole group. We were all right here and things. But we were still regarded as coming from Hollywood.
Yes,
but
it was a catch-all term.
Yes,
yeah.
But they did. They all. There was parties given out here, and it was nothing to go to a party to get 20 or 40 or 100 very prominent stars, all of them. They used to give big parties, and they all used to have swimming pools, and there was a great deal of social life. And I think more or less it came from there, and also from the one-star system that they, in those days, became very glamorous from being the central figure of the whole picture.